You know what's funny? Every time Lando gets close to Max, Twitter goes crazy. Half the grid calls it the new rivalry of the decade, and the other half just quietly hopes rain shows up to make it interesting. Fans dissect every radio message, every post-race interview, searching for cracks in the armor. The analysts pull out their telemetry charts. Everyone's got an opinion. But let's be honest, Lando has been close. Sometimes within 0.2 on a Saturday. Sometimes even leading him wheel to wheel on Sunday. There have been moments where you could feel the shift coming, where the McLaren looked like it finally had the pace. And yet, when the checkered flag drops, it's always Max standing a little higher on the podium. Always that same calm, controlled interview. So today, let's ask the question we've all yelled at our screens at least once this season. What does Lando Norris actually need to finally beat Max Verstappen? The friendly rivalry, silent war. See, this isn't your classic F1 rivalry. There's no hate, no political drama, it's almost too friendly. They've gamed together, joked on Twitch, raced since karting days. They know each other's strengths like old rivals at a local track. There's genuine respect there, genuine friendship even. But that's exactly what makes it dangerous. Because Max, he thrives on pressure. The tighter the battle, the sharper he becomes. Lando, he avoids it. When Max stares down the grid, he's thinking domination. I'll crush everyone here. When Lando lines up, he's thinking fun. Let's have a good race. It's like watching a predator race an artist. Both brilliant, but wired completely differently. Max sees every race as conquest. Lando sees it as expression. And in the brutal calculus of Formula One, expression doesn't win championships the same way conquest does. And yet, every once in a while, when the McLaren is hooked up, when the setup clicks, Lando reminds Max, "Hey, I'm not just here for the memes." Fast but fragile speed? Lando has it. That kid can pull off qualifying laps that make your heart skip a beat. The kind of laps where you rewind the onboard just to understand how he kept the car on track. His feel for the car is sublime, delicate steering inputs, perfect rotation, dancing on the limit. But the issue isn't fast, it's lasting. Telemetry from circuits like Suzuka and Qatar showed how Lando often matches Max through high-speed corners, but then loses up to 0.2 through traction zones and tire degradation later in the stint. His style smooth, rotation-heavy lights up the tires early, great for one lap, deadly over 58. That's why Max keeps pulling away mid-race. Not because Lando isn't quick enough, but because his rhythm, that silky flow, eats the rubber alive. He extracts performance early, pays for it late. Meanwhile, Max's car control makes the tires work for him. He nurses them through the opening phase, then attacks when others fade. So yeah, Lando can beat him on a Saturday. But Sundays? That's when tire whispers win championships. And Max has learned to listen to those whispers better than almost anyone on the grid. The McLaren problem. And then there's the McLaren problem. This team's too nice. They celebrate every P2 like a win, which, okay, is wholesome, but Red Bull celebrates a P2 like a crime scene, like someone failed. McLaren's built around collaboration, team spirit, clean racing, there are smiles in the garage. Red Bull's built around one-man Max Verstappen, and everyone else is there to make him faster. That's not criticism, that's design. Every front-wing tweak, every suspension experiment, all filtered through what Max likes, what Max needs. The whole operation bends toward a single purpose, and that's why Red Bull stays lethal, even when their car isn't the fastest. Meanwhile, McLaren's still figuring out how to keep both Lando and Oscar happy, which is great for balance sheets, great for brand image, not for beating world champions, not for the kind of single-minded obsession that championships demand. So, if Lando wants to take down Max, McLaren's culture has to shift from "let's both win someday" to "we'll do whatever it takes to make our guy win now." Someone has to be the priority, and that someone needs to be Lando. How to break Max. So how do you beat a driver who never cracks? Who turns pressure into performance? You don't outpace Max Verstappen, you unbalance him. Look at Brazil 2022, or the 2024 Singapore GP races where chaos crept in, strategies flipped, and Max suddenly looked human, vulnerable even. Max is a rhythm driver. He builds momentum like a freight train. Once he's in the zone, he becomes almost impossible to break. But when the pattern breaks, weather changes, pit windows shuffle, his dominance dips. He stops being inevitable. And guess who's naturally built for chaos? Lando. The chaos weapon. This guy thrives when everything's messy. You give him a damp track, a late safety car, or a bold strategy call and he comes alive. His instincts sharpen. The smile disappears, and something sharper takes its place. Remember Silverstone? Imola? Every time the race turned unpredictable, Lando was suddenly elbow to elbow with Max. Not because the car magically transformed, but because instinct took over. And Lando's brain runs faster than data, faster than simulations. That's his untapped weapon. He doesn't need to mirror Max's aggression. He needs to lean into his own chaos. Outthink, not outmuscle. Be unpredictable when Max expects precision. If McLaren ever builds strategy around that, if they start creating chaos instead of avoiding it, you'll finally see Max sweating under his helmet. The mindset shift. But the final missing piece isn't on the car. It's not in the wind tunnel or the simulator. It's in the mirror. Max races like he has to win. Lando races like he wants to win. That's a huge difference. Because for Max, every lap is war. Every position is territory. For Lando, every lap is art. Every overtake is expression. And art loses when war shows up. Every time. To beat Max, Lando doesn't need to turn angry. He needs to turn ruthless. The same killer instinct Max has when he sees a gap, Lando needs when he sees a championship window. That cold, calculated willingness to take what's his without apology. He's close, painfully close, but until he flips that internal switch, Max will keep walking away with trophies like it's just another Monday. The future we're waiting for. 2026's regulation reset is coming. Fresh engines, new aero, a whole new playing field. And for the first time in years, the grid might start from zero again. No legacy advantage, just pure competition. If McLaren keeps its trajectory, and if Lando finally finds that ruthless edge, we might not be asking, what does he need anymore? We'll be asking, can Max keep up? Because when Lando stops racing with Max and starts racing against him, that's when Formula One gets spicy again. That's when we get the rivalry this sport deserves. That's when Sundays become unmissable.